Hello, math students. Welcome to Module 9, Expressions and Equations. This is Lesson 5, and it is called Understanding Equations to Solve Them. The goal for today we will discuss what an equation is and how to use algebraic expressions to solve them. The question that I want you to be thinking about in this lesson is, what model can you use to help you solve equations? All right, so things to know. Basically, the thing that I would really like you to do is I would like you to model everything, because if you model it, then you can see it, and then you can solve it, okay? So, we're going to try it with some things to know. Decorating. You have two posters to hang up in your room. The wall is 14 feet wide. Each poster is 4 feet wide, and you want to space the posters evenly along the wall. Write an equation to solve for the distance, okay? So, basically what I want you to do first is let's draw a model of it. So here's the room, okay? And we know this total distance from here to here is 14 feet, okay? And then we know that each poster is 4 feet. So this is 4 feet, excuse me. And this is 4 feet. Okay? And then you have to evenly space them. Okay? Evenly along the wall. All right. So the second thing that I want you to do, we already did the first thing. Second thing that I want us to do is let's write what we know. Okay? So we know the total. The total distance is 14 feet. Okay? The given information, given info, what we're going to write. The given info is that you have two posters that are each 4 feet wide. And then the unknown, or the stuff we're trying to find, unknown info is what is this space, okay? And so basically, if it has to be evenly spaced along the wall, then we know that we're going to need how many of those? Look at the picture. If it's evenly spaced, and my picture is not evenly spaced, but we know that we have to have 3 sections of a certain amount. Okay? That's what we know. All right, so the total is 14. We know that 2 of them is 4 feet each, so that gives us something. And then the unknown info is the space evenly along the wall. And so the way I like to say, because it says write an equation and solve for the distance, then our equation would be something plus something equals something, because it's an equation. Well, I'm thinking that the total goes there, and I'm thinking that your given could go here, and your unknown could go there, because that's an equation, right? So you're taking the given info plus the unknown info, and that will equal the total wall. Well, so far so good. So we know this is 14. We know the given is that you have 2 4 feet posters, so 2 4 feet posters. And then we know, by looking at our picture, if the posters have to be evenly spaced, we know that we need to have 3 sections of X, right? Okay, so now I think we can solve that. So we're going to go ahead and combine like terms. We're going to distribute. We're going to do everything that we can to solve this problem. So we're distributing here. 2 times 4 is actually 8, plus 3 times x is 3x equals 14. Okay, everybody with me so far? So now you guys can decide how you would like to figure that out, but we know that 8 of it already takes up that much of the total. So if we know that the whole amount is 14, but 8 of it is already used up for the posters themselves, then what we really have is 3x equals 6, because 8 of it is already the posters, and you can't change that, and the total was 14. So if you take 8 out of the 14, you're left with 6, and then we have to see that there are 3 x's. So this would be x, this would be x, and this would be x, and this x plus this x plus this x has to equal a total of 6 feet. So we know what number times 3 equals 6. We know it's 2. So now we know that the poster should be spaced evenly 2 feet from one side, then the 4-foot poster, then 2 feet in the middle, then the 4-foot poster, and then 2 feet on the other side. So we know that the distance that we need is that they need to go 2 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet, 4 feet, 2 feet. And that would be the correct distance for the posters in your room. Was that horrible? It wasn't, was it? As long as you drew the picture and you could see, and then you mapped out your total, your given info, and your unknown info, then you could make an equation. All right, so let's try the next one then. Ages. This was a little trickier, but I think we can use the same format. The ages of 3 sisters are consecutive integers. The sums of their ages is 45, excuse me. Whew, what are their ages? Okay, consecutive. Think about stairs. If I tell you to climb the stairs consecutively, what does that mean? It means that you're going one after the other. So there are 3 sisters and the sum, okay? So they're giving us some information that we need to pay attention to. Sum means that we add. So we have, okay, first of all, we know that we have the total equals 45 years old, or 45 years, right? Not 45 years old, but the sum means you add. If you add them all together, the sum of their ages is 45. So the total is 45. The given info this time, I would say the only thing that they gave us was that there are 3 sisters, so 3, and consecutive, so that means right after the other. So 3 sisters and their ages are right after each other. Okay, and then the unknown info are the ages, right? So we're going to say X. Okay, so now consecutive means one right after the other. So if I have X is that person, so let's say X is 7. Well, what's the number right after 7? It's 8. So how do you go from 7 to 8? What did you do? That's X plus 1, right? And then if you kept going, this one would be 7, this one would be 8, this one would be 9. So how did you get there from X on this one? It would be X plus 2, because look, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's given information. All right, so now we can set up our equation because it says use an equation. So I know I have something plus something plus something equals something. So this, again, was our total, right? This was sister age, and sister age. And we know that the sister age happened one after the other. So let's say this sister is X. Well, the sister right after her would have to be X plus 1 because that's the next number. And this one would have to be X plus 2. And then what was our total? 45. And now all you have to do is combine like terms. So I see 1, 2, 3. I see 3 X's. And I see 1 plus 2 equals 3. So plus 3 equals 45. Okay. So now if the total number of years added all together equals 45, well, we know that there are 3 of them, so we have to take the 3 off of there. So now we have 3 times what number gives us 42, because we had to get rid of those 3 years. So now 3 times what number gives us 42? Do the math. I would say 42 times what gives me 3, which is the same thing as a division problem, right? So 3 goes into 4 one time. 3 goes into 12 4 times. So we now know that X equals 14. So that means one of the sisters is 14. Which of the sisters is 14? This girl. So if she's 14, what does the second sister have to be? 15. And what does the third sister have to be? 16. Because they're consecutive. They go in order. So did we figure out the three sisters' ages? Yep. And we use total, given information, unknown information. Okay? This isn't so bad, right? Okay, so we have two more to try. All right, puppy pen. You are designing a rectangular puppy pen. The total amount of fencing that you have is 30 feet. The length is 6 1/3 feet longer than the width. What is the length and the width of the pen? Okay, got to pay very close attention. So you're drawing a rectangular puppy pen. Okay, rectangular puppy pen. So here's our rectangular pen. The length is 6 1/3 longer. So we need to make that longer. Okay, here's a rectangular puppy pen. And it says that the length is 6 1/3 longer. So if I say that my hair is 7 inches longer than Susie's, how would I show Susie's? Susie's would be X, and then mine would be X plus 7 because mine is 7 longer. Oh, well, that's not bad. So then the width, we'll use W for width. So there's the width, but it says that the length is 6 1/3 feet longer than the width. So this is really the width plus 6 1/3. Okay, so that's not horrible. All right, so now it says the total amount of fencing you have is 30 feet. So we need our total. Our total is 30, not 40. I was going to write 40. 30 feet. The given info is that the width is, or the length, we were given the length is the width plus 6 1/3. The unknown info is the width. So now we have to figure it out. Okay, so remembering that we're not finding area. We don't want to know how big the puppy pen is. We want to know if we can figure out how much the side lengths are. So we're not multiplying, we're adding. And we know that we have W plus W, because there's two W's, plus length, and all of that equals something. Well, again, this is the total, this is the length, this is the width, this is the length, and this is the width, because that's how you find the total amount of fencing. Total amount of fencing is 30. We know that the length is actually the width plus 6 1/3. The width is just the width. The length is the width plus 6 1/3. And the width is just the width. All right, I set you up. You have to solve it by yourself. Okay? It's easy, don't freak out. Okay? So just keep working through and see what you can do. Last one, practice makes perfect. Heather practices soccer and piano. Each day she practices piano for 2 hours. After 5 days, she practiced both piano and soccer for a total of 20 hours. Assuming that she practiced soccer the same amount of time each day, how many hours did she practice soccer? Okay, so we have 5 days in total. She practiced both piano and soccer for a total of 20. So again, let's do our total information that we have equals 20 hours, right? And the given information on this one is that each day she practices piano. So piano, she practices 2 hours, right? So piano is 2. And it was also given that she has practiced for 5 days. So this is piano. This is practice for 5 days. And then it says, assuming that she practiced soccer the same amount of time each day, how many hours did she practice soccer? So our unknown info is soccer. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a tape diagram would be super helpful because we know that she practiced 5 days. Yeah? So there's the 5 days. And we also know that she practiced piano and she practiced soccer. But we know that the total amount that she practiced, it said, after 5 days, she practiced both piano and soccer for a total of 20 hours. So all of this together makes 20. Okay? But you can't just assume that they're equal. That's why I drew them different sizes, because it gives you that she practices piano 2 hours for every day. So piano is 2 for each day. So now your job is to figure out the soccer. Okay? And I think that you can do that. And remember your equation, because it said set up an equation. So something plus something equals something. I'm going to say this one's total. I'm going to say this one is piano. And I'm going to say this one is soccer. So your job is to take all of that help that I just gave you for free and figure out that problem too. Okay, so puppy pen and practice makes perfect. You guys need to finish for me, and I will be checking those when I look at your notes. All right, going back to our goal for today. Today we will discuss an equation, what an equation is, and how to use algebraic expressions to solve them, which we did. An equation has an equal sign and is solvable. Expressions do not have an equal sign, and they aren't solvable. They are simplifiable, but not solvable. Question, what model can you use to help solve equations? I don't know if this is a model, but if you use the total, given info, and unknown info, it's a really good tool to help you, no matter what the problem is. All right, kiddos, that's all I have for you today. Talk to you soon. Bye.